Let's see if it's great, because I don't know if the internet's working properly. If anyone's on here, someone comes on here. Seems to be paying. Normally when the top layer do a circle.
Some guy
It does circle, definitely know, but it is recording as well as the same, so the feedback should go right. Tell you what I'm going to do as well. I'm going to put this on as well.
Okay.
And then we'll see what we can do with that, because then you can wander around, you can get the crowd and all that. So just turn around to the crowd, Are we sounding fine? Hearing you loud and clear? Wonderful! Thank you very much for saying so. Lessons for life. In fact, we're going to put the audio on here as well. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. On the set.
Look, these people, he's talking about ideas, not about people. You're talking about people. This is different.
I've got a feeling that's the bloke responsible.
I know he is, but the only one of them.
Oh, okay, so you don't like him.
I love him.
Where are you from? He's from Germany. Maybe I have it. I know the history.
Where's Eric? Where's Eric?
No, it's me. Only original people here for you days.
Go on, argument somewhere else. I know, but I want to I don't really want to engage this stupid level. Not at a stupid level. That's the only trouble. I don't want a stupid level. You know, there's what you call lowest common denominator, highest common factor.
What are they talking about?
I'd prefer to talk at the highest common factor than the lowest common denominator. Some people want to engage at the lowest common denominator, and I don't really want to do that. So if I get too much of that, I'm going to move and go somewhere else. That's basically
You better get rid of him as well. He's going to move.
highest common factor.
Do you mean by that? Do you mean you're going
I
to
don't
leave the
want
country?
There was a police van here, but
nonsense and stupidity.
Never done that. Why would you say
There
that?
are various issues.
You've got a big queer Starmer on us.
There are various issues to address.
Just ignore this heckler. You're feeding the
As I said, I'm
beast.
not going to do it.
All right. That's the
He's been doing it all day. I arrived at 10 o'clock in this.
I know. When the weather gets hot, some people get a mental. Some people are a little bit dislodged.
He's been doing this all
Suffer
day.
from
Are you
mental
not tired
from
yet?
from mental consequences of their brain getting a bit overheated. I understand that, and I have to take account of that when I'm speaking.
You're just being discriminatory.
What is your purpose here? What do you do? You got to
Sorry, we could
My
ask. No,
purpose, I own the fucking ladder.
I'm not wasting my time. I'm not wasting my time. I'm moving. You got a choice. Either I speak, or you two carry on. I'm not engaging with stupidity. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I've just done 2 walking tours this morning. I've got no time to engage in stupidity. There's lots of things happening in the world. Plenty of big issues in the world that have to be addressed. People ask me, am I coming to Speaker's Corner this afternoon? I was specially pleaded with to turn up, so here I am. And I'm not going to waste my time talking nonsense. If possible.
How many people got arrested yesterday?
360.
I went down there and there were at least 450 people. At least 460 something people apparently arrested yesterday. I went down there, observed the people being arrested one after another. Of course, if this was Russia, and 400 people were being arrested in Red Square in Moscow, world news! Oh my God! The repressive dictatorship of Russia is arresting hundreds of people on the square protesting against the war in Ukraine. But it's not Russia. It's England. And England. And in England, if I was to say, I support Palestine action, I could be arrested. And therefore, I never say a thing like that. I saw police officers yesterday. They were saying, right, if anybody has got a sign that says, I support Palestine action, nick them. I heard them say that. I heard them, we went round, I heard them talking. They were saying, anyone says, got a sign, I support Palestine action, nick them. They're the ones we're going to nick. Anybody leaves the crowd or tries to leave the crowd who's been holding a sign saying, I support Palestine action, nick them. Then I saw a police officer picked up a sign off the floor that said, I support Palestine action. I said, nick that officer. He looked up at me like that. And the other officers looked around and people started laughing and say, arrest him, arrest him. He's carrying the sign, says I support Palestine action, arrest him. That's how mad a situation we have reached
No, you're
in
mad
Britain.
about this. But would it
That's
be
how
just
mad
mad?
we have reached in Britain.
Would it be just as
I also agree,
If it
just
was
to
national
preempt
action.
your stupidity, Tommy Robinson this week was arrested and they charged him for putting out 2 tweets. I think one of them was quite blatantly racist, but so what? So what?
So what?
Why are we arresting people for innocuous, stupid, idiotic, or progressive tweets? Why are we arresting people for tweets? Why are we doing that?
Don't condone
It is
racism.
utter stupidity, and it stokes up anger and rage within society. And there's plenty of that around. Plenty of that around. The reason I disagree with Piers this week, quite vociferously, is I addressed this question about the boats, the migrants, the illegals, last week and the week before. And I'm not happy with the slogan, stop the boats. I'm not happy. I'll tell you why.
Stop the ferries.
Because there are loads of boats that come to England every day. Some carry people who don't have passports. Some carry people who do have passports. If someone comes to England on a boat with a passport, then arrives in England and says, I'm claiming asylum, are they criminals?
Yes.
Yes.
The gentleman says they are. The gentleman says they are. If someone comes on an aeroplane to Heathrow Airport from Pakistan, and then when they arrive they say, I'm claiming asylum, is that criminal?
It should be.
You are saying it's criminal, but
I
it's
said it
not
should
criminal.
be. I said it
It's
should
not
be.
criminal, is
I
it?
said it should be.
It's not criminal, is
It
it?
should be.
Are you therefore,
said it should
because
be.
plenty of people do that, more people claim asylum that arrive by airplane than arrive by boat? More people. So are you now going to say, stop the planes? Are you?
As soon as they
Are you
land,
saying that?
They should be sent
Go
back.
to Heathrow Airport
They should
there.
get the next
Go
flight
protest at Heathrow Airport.
They should get the next
Go
flight back.
to protest at Heathrow Airport.
Yeah,
Put
go.
them in a
Go.
Because
Put them in
more
a
people.
concentration camp.
Sorry?
You process them.
What's that?
You put them in a concentration camp. You process them. If they're genuine, you keep them. If not, you send them back to the shithole they came from.
Right, the shithole they came
They
from.
already
Yes,
said
so
back
let's
to the
deal with
shithole
one of
they
those
came
shitholes just for the sake of it.
Afghanistan.
Let's deal with one of the shitholes.
I don't
just
want
for
them
the sake
raping
of
my
it.
grandchildren.
You don't want
Yes.
them raping your grandchildren.
Yes.
I understand.
I don't want to pay
their
for them either.
grandchildren. No one wants their grandchildren to be raped. Least of all by someone who came on a boat. Right? No one wants their
come off the
grandchildren
boat, they
raped
start
on a boat.
raping.
But after all,
Anyone
if
that
someone
comes from a
rapes your
shithole,
grandchild
they already be
and
sent
comes
back.
off a boat, it's far worse than if someone rapes their grandchild and they don't come on a boat. It's a special level of rape, right?
No, it's not.
Yes, rape from a boat is far worse than rape from an aeroplane. It's far worse
No.
than rape
They're
from a
all bad.
neighbour, or far worse
They
than
all
rape,
need to be sent
far
back.
worse than
They all need
rape
to
by
be
the
sent
Catholic
back.
Church.
They all need to be sent back.
Or by the public schools.
They all need to be sent back.
The public schools, where are you going to send them back to?
Sent back.
We've
Where
got
are you
enough
gonna send
When they
rapists
arrive on a
without
plane,
importing more.
back.
Are you saying the boat is full? We got enough
they
rape.
arrive
I'm saying the country's
You're
full.
saying we got enough
The country's
British
full.
rapists.
Send them back. Send them back. Send them back.
Most
Send them
rapists are most rapists known to the person, or better said, are most women who are raped, do they know the person who
I
rapes
thought you
them?
said you were gonna be.
Most cases are known.
I'm talking
To the
about
person.
11-year-olds.
even most paedophiles. Most paedophilia in Britain is carried out by white people inside their own family.
They are eating the cats and dogs.
Yes, they are. Most paedophilic rape happens inside the family.
Dogs.
Institutional
Eating the
rape.
cats.
Sorry?
And they're raping the kids.
That's right. Okay.
Well, he's
right.
a Marxist.
The gentleman's
He's
right.
does them Karl Marx
It is
walking
true
tours.
that
You see
as a
the stickers everywhere?
proportion
He's the guy.
of, for example, a nationality, Afghanis have one of the highest rates of rape and sexual abuse in British society. That is true. That's true. Many times, it's government data, I did check it, it's factually correct. However, firstly, when British people, the majority of British people who arrived in Afghanistan, let me speak, my friend, let me speak.
No, it's equal opportunity.
You are not listening. You are getting overexcited because of the heat. Because of the heat and because I'm talking about sexual intercourse. I am talking about forced sexual intercourse, my friend. Not sexual intercourse by choice. Now, the gentleman here shouts out, anyone who is an illegal immigrant
Should be sent back.
in other words, someone who arrives in Britain, someone who arrives,
Take a wash.
someone who arrives,
Take a wash.
my friend, hang
Losing
on,
your hair.
I don't need, look, it is perfectly legal to be an idiot in Speaker's Corner, but you two are taking the biscuit, you are taking liberties. Tell him how to behave.
They don't
He's
know they're
behaving
wild
like an
animals.
idiot.
They're
As are
wild
you.
Animals.
Now I ask you
Civilized
this.
men. They're not civilized men.
Between Afghanistan and England,
They don't know how to behave.
I'm accepting, as I said, Afghan nationals in Britain have a high rate ratio.
We need to stop the boat. We need to stop the
Let me
planes.
continue.
Can you explain why that is?
Let us compare, however.
Can you explain that why?
Murder ratio. Is the murder ratio of British people in Afghanistan higher than the murder ratio of Afghans in Britain? Yes, British people in Afghanistan. In case you didn't know, Afghans in Britain are recent arrivals. British in Afghanistan have been going there many times. In fact, Britain has sent people to Afghanistan, and when they went, by the way, when the British went to Afghanistan, when they arrived in Afghanistan by boat, they never showed their passports. They didn't even have passports.
Well, why would you need
But they
passports
showed
to
their
a
guns,
shithole?
they showed their bombs, they showed their airplanes, they showed their laser-guided missiles, and in fact, Prince William and Prince Harry went to Afghanistan and they were filmed in Afghanistan shooting with machine guns against Afghans unnamed. And they said, I killed them. So it's true that many Afghans in Britain, as a proportion compared with other nations, have committed rape. But this is nothing compared with British people going to Afghanistan and killing, murdering, slaughtering and maiming thousands and thousands and thousands of Afghans. Four times Britain has sent troops to Afghanistan to slaughter, murder, kill in the thousands Afghan citizens.
How many Afghans?
And I remember meeting when I was in Pakistan
Go to Afghanistan.
in
mate. We love it
2010.
so much.
I met one of my friends there.
You're fighting love
He
and
said to
boxing.
me, I have some Afghan friends, refugees in Pakistan. There are, I believe, about 1 million Afghan refugees in Pakistan, or they weren't at that time. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, that area on the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan. American troops were there as well, shooting and killing, British troops were there, shooting and killing in the Afghan. Last year, or the year before, we left Afghanistan. Our boys, we sent them to die in Afghanistan, to kill in Afghanistan. What's the problem? Why are you running away? Oh, I see. When it's British people killing people, it doesn't matter. It wasn't only killing people. I remember watching Abu Ghraib. Anybody remember Abu Ghraib? In Abu Ghraib, British and American soldiers, the best of Britain, the best of America, the best of Britain, the best of America were in Afghanistan running concentration camps where they raped Afghans, they raped them with guns, they raped them with their fingers, up their anus, British and American soldiers raping Afghans up their anus with their hands in order to humiliate them, threatening them with dogs, putting black covers on their heads and then scaring them with dogs, making them lie naked, one on top of another. That was British and American soldiers doing that to the Afghans. It's extremely well documented. There are hundreds and hundreds of videos and films of this. You haven't looked. If you don't know, you haven't looked. If you don't know, you haven't looked. If you don't know, you haven't looked. It will take you 1 second, my friend, to go on the internet and look. But the British operated concentration camps as well. Now, that doesn't mean the British are terrible people. It just explains to you what the background is. Why are Afghans escaping their country? Because Britain and America utterly and completely destroyed Afghanistan. Afghanistan, by the way, was a secular country. Afghanistan was a secular country. They did not follow Islam. In 1979 until 1990, Afghanistan was secular. The women wore no headscarf. The women danced. They wore short skirts. They had disco dancing. Afghanistan was a secular, westernized country. In this, it was Soviet, but it was westernized. I went to Pakistan, up into the hills, where Osama bin Laden was found. There used to be the hippie trail.
Yes.
Everyone used to go there and smoke marijuana. They all used to drink there. They got Wall's ice cream signs. They got cafes in the hills overlooking the mountains. All the hippies used to go. There used to be buses that would drive from England to Afghanistan, where you could be a hippie, smoke dope, free love, free sex. That was Pakistan before America and Britain, in conjunction with Saudi Arabia, organised the Taliban, organised Osama bin Laden, created Al-Qaeda. Before that, they were secular people. They did not believe in Islam in any like fanatical way. All that was created by Western bombing, by Western terror, by Western war. That's what created the Afghan, if you like, a cauldron or whirlwind that we see today. Now the British government, apparently, people on Parliament Square are criminals supporting a prescribed terrorist organisation. Would you mind?
Sorry. But only last month, the head of the British Foreign Office went to Syria, and he met with the leader of the Syrian government. The leader of the Syrian government is a member of Al Qaeda, a proscribed terrorist organization. The British gave them money. The British gave them 100 million to the Syrian terrorists who overthrew Assad, a secular leader in the Middle East. And in fact, all of the Middle East, apart from Saudi Arabia and a couple of places, the wealthiest oil state, they were all secular countries until the 1980s. All of them. Libya, Egypt, Morocco, Syria, Lebanon, they were all secular. And by the way, the Palestinians were also secular. Also secular. Iran before 1979 was a secular country. So this idea that the people from the Middle East and North Africa are all Allahu Akbar, blow up the West, that came from the actions of the West that created the rebellion against us, financed, by the way, by the Saudi Arabians and the Americans. Even Hamas was financed by the Americans. Sorry, financed by the Israelis. The Israelis financed Hamas in order to undermine Fatah and the PLO, to undermine the idea of an independent Palestinian state. So do not believe the lies they tell you.
But how did Al Qaeda carry out?
Now when I went to Pakistan, I was going to say this. My friend said to me, he knows some Afghans. They said to him, listen, my friend, I am not normal. He said, what do you mean you're not normal? He said, I have seen my brothers, my sisters, my children, my neighbours blown up, their bodies destroyed, separated, torn apart, imprisoned, terrorised, murdered, brutalised. I can never be normal. And so if you wonder why some of the Afghans who make it here, by the way, these are Afghans with money, to come here from Afghanistan cost £15,000. £15,000. The only reason they come on a boat is because we don't grant visas to them. You don't need a visa to go to Afghanistan, but if you come from Afghanistan, you need a visa. You don't need it. So it was historically. We went to the whole of the world. You think when Columbus went to South America, he had to show a passport? You think when the British went to India, they showed a passport? No, when the British went to India, they said to the Indians, where's your passport? That's what they said. They said, India is ours. East India Company, we own your country, we own your ass. You show me your passport. It did start like that. It did start. They never showed their passport to the Indians.
It was free trade to start.
What do you mean free trade? Free trade with the country.
So it turned into that later.
Free trade means nothing. If your manufacturing production is 100 times more productive than theirs, then free trade means the destruction of the occupying country, which means they turned India into an opium-producing country to export the goods to the Chinese, to get silver from the Chinese, and then they bombed the Chinese when they didn't want the opium. And then they said, oh my God, we've got opioid epidemic. The opioid epidemic in America is orchestrated by the American pharmaceutical companies. They're behind 500,000 people killed by the opioid epidemic. More people in real life years lost died of the opioid epidemic, organised by Big Pharma in America, than died of COVID. Right? Millions of people in life years lost died in America from the opioid epidemic. So you cannot believe the stories. And I do not support the slogan, stop the boats. I do not support the slogan. Because why? Because you don't need to stop the boats. All you have to do is say, open a visa processing centre in Kabul. There is none. If you want to leave Kabul, you have to go to Pakistan, to Islamabad, to get a visa. If you give visas to people who've got £15,000, they spend £900 or £700 on an airplane ticket, They arrive in London, they got 10,000 or 15,000, 14,000 pounds in the bank. Anyone from Brazil, or from Guatemala, or from Morocco, or from China, or from India can come to England if they can show they've got 10,000 pounds in the bank.
They might have to show a lot more than that because
10,000 pounds.
They might have to show a lot. Yes, absolutely.
No, definitely not.
No, I've got a friend from Afghanistan. Now his father needs serious, urgent medical treatment, which you can't get in Kabul at the moment because of what we've done. £80,000 in the bank. They won't let him come here for private medical
that
treatment
can be
that he
changed.
can pay for.
The British government could change the regulation and create equal rights for Afghans and Pakistanis to come here, as anyone, say, from Brazil, and then it would be open for people to come here, and they wouldn't get put up in hotels.
But what I'm
They'd
saying, you
pay
might
for
need
the
to show a
hotel
lot more than
themselves.
£10.
And by the way, when Tommy last week or 2 weeks ago, Tommy, he gave someone a quick punch. It might have been justified. He might have been attacked, gave him a punch, probably ran away because he had a bag of coke in his pocket. He didn't want to get caught with that. Fair enough, right? Fair enough. So he ran away, and then where did he go? He went to Tenerife. Now, what is going on in Tenerife? What's the biggest unrest in Tenerife? People from Britain going to Tenerife, occupying all the apartments and making the people from Tenerife homeless. Thousands of people in Tenerife are made homeless by the Airbnbs and the hotels being occupied by British people through over-tourism. Now, what does it matter whether they're paying? The point is, the person is made homeless because the British person comes. They're outpricing the locals. Of course, the British person can come, pay £2,000 a month for an apartment. He would say, bloody hell, it's cheaper than London. A 2-bedroom apartment, £2,000. But for someone from Tenerife, £2,000 is astronomical. They don't earn £2,000, and therefore they sleep in a car and they serve as a waiter in the restaurant in Los Cristianos. They serve the people British breakfast in the restaurant for €6.
They're making serious.
They are making fuck all. They're making nothing.
At the bottom,
This is what the main protest in Tenerife is. Look up Tenerife protest. You will see one demonstration after another by tens of thousands of people in Tenerife and in Barcelona and in Valencia and in Madrid. People and in Italy protesting against British tourists taking their property and undermining their rights. So this is an economic question. It is not as they make out. Oh my God! I mean, you remember Magaluf? We're talking about sexual debauchery. Magaluf, as the gentleman says, Shagaluf. The British tourists go there. The Spanish live their lives. And suddenly they got thousands and thousands of British people doing their shagluf existence. Drunk as a lord, drugged out of their heads, wandering down the streets, destroying the culture of the local people. So don't come with this shit about all the foreigners destroying our culture in Britain. The Brits, on a regular basis, including, Tommy, whose favourite holiday destination is Tenerife. I love Tenerife, don't get me wrong, but don't talk shit to me about how migrants are coming here stealing everything from us. If you're going there and stealing from them, right?
You can't see, you're missing the point.
What is the point?
The policy is a policy.
That is policy as well. Policy is how do you make money? That's the policy. Why do you think they're staying in hotels? Because councils give backhanders to empty hotel owners who then say, okay, I'll have £300 a week for putting up a refugee, and then they get £300 a week for serving a couple of eggs and beans to refugees, putting up in a shitty hotel that's empty half the time. Because who wants to stay? Who wants to stay in a hotel? Who wants to stay in a hotel? Well, one minute. Who wants to stay in a hotel in Epping? And the Britannia Hotel, by the way, the Britannia Hotel, I used to be involved in a housing campaign in Marsh Road or Marsh Street in Canary Wharf. There is one building after another empty in Canary Wharf. Canary Wharf had its day. It was destroyed by 2008, double destroyed in the COVID crisis. And therefore the Britannia Hotel was no longer popular. You think the Britannia Hotel wants to rent out to refugees unless they're making more money from refugees than from American tourists. That's the point. They make more money by a backhand deal with the local council to make the money.
That's the evidence of policy.
But the policy is this: you can change the policy by giving visas to people from Afghanistan, from Sudan, from Somalia, and the other. That's the solution. Same rights for Somalians. The Afghans aren't a big number. Most of the migration to Britain is Indian migration. All that's legal. All legal migration.
Immigration. Yes,
1 million people have arrived since Brexit. Legally.
Yes, that's the issue. That's the issue.
A tiny percentage arrived by boat.
That's right.
So the boat issue, the boat
minor. It's
the
as good
boat
as how that's
issue,
the
the boat
voter
issue
graphic.
is a fraud, and it's to whip up hatred between the communities.
Yes.
So that what is happening, I'll tell you this, and that's why I oppose all this shit about stop the boats, stop the migrants, kick them out. That's why I oppose, because they're not organising the boat. They're not organising the bollocks. The issue is this, is that the migration that is happening on a large scale is legal migration.
That is the
What is going on with the boats issue is it's whipping up hatred.
Yes.
And I tell you this,
Exactly.
all around Britain, there are people, not from boats, not refugees, people born in Britain,
Yes.
got a black skin,
Yes.
look like an Arab, look a bit dark, maybe from Italy, who are being shouted at and accused on the streets right now because of the Tommy Tard arguments about send back the boat. The boats are a tiny number of people. There are far more people arrive by legal boats every day, and more of them on the planes and boats claim asylum than claim who arrive on the boats. The boats is about visas, nothing else. Give them visas, allow them to come, and they won't be in hotels, and stop all this corruption between council. I didn't say open borders. Why do you force it? I said visas. Well, hang on a minute. Next time you want to go abroad, right? You're from Turkey, by the way, aren't you? Your family's from Turkey, right? Yes. How did you get here?
On a boat.
Did you have a visa? Did your parents have a visa to come here? Were they allowed to work here? Yeah, they were allowed to work. So open borders, is it?
That's what you're saying. That's
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying equal rights for visas. Equal rights. If a British person wants to go to Afghanistan, they just go there on an RAF jet, drop bombs, and then land, get off the plane. Nobody checks their passport. Nobody checks their passport. That's how it's been since 2001. And it started, by the way, in the 1830s. How many times has Afghanistan invaded Britain? How many times has Britain invaded Afghanistan? 4 times. 4 times Britain has invaded Afghanistan. Check it on the internet, ChatGPT. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I
thought
don't
it was
think I
3,
am.
but
4 times.
4 times.
So you simply need to get the perspective on the reality, and don't fall for the bullshit of those people who are trying. And who's really behind the game? Who's really got an interest in turning British indigenous people against foreigners, and in particular against a fucking Muslim?
Now we're getting there.
Tommy.
Who is it?
Who's behind it? It is Israel. It is Israel. It is Israel. The Zionists and the Christian Zionists are working in cahoots. They have a significant influence in the media. They have a significant influence in the Labour Party.
Absolutely.
Keir Starmer said, "I am a Zionist." He said.
Without qualification.
His wife is a Zionist. His family is Zionist. He said, "I am a Zionist." When he was asked, "Is it legal or is it right for Israel to cut off the water, cut off the electricity, starve people to death?" He said yes. He said yes. In other words, the people running our society, connected with the Israel lobby globally, slaughtering and killing the people of Palestine on a daily basis, offering them food and shooting them while they go for the food. Those are the people who want you to hate the foreigners in Britain. Those are the people stoking up the discontent. And I say to you, stand up against this nonsense. Use your brain.
Yes.
Use your brain.
Yes.
Think carefully. Act accordingly. Do not let them divide our communities, because that's what they're trying to do on a national and an international basis to justify their power. Thanks very much.
I'll ask you a question.
Mr. Corbyn.
Yes.
The House Mr. Corbyn.
Can we move to down here? Because I want to show you some of these banners. We'll move this along. Heiko, can we move this to this?
That might work as well. Fit it in the middle.
Down here,
Oh yes, I'm glad you joined the team.
I believe when immigrants come a long time ago, they go to work and pay rent. I remember a long time ago. Even this country, they know this immigrant, he doesn't have paper, he doesn't have passport, they give him work.
The law makes it
Sorry? It's subject access. But get all the details from him. Get all the details. Subject access, but get all the relevant details from him. Subject access. But get all the proper details from this gentleman. I'm just holding it for him. Subject YouTube. Subject access. Subject access. Subject Listen, I'm living 25 years in this country. I'm living in hospital. You got it? So if you press now, that's it. Okay. He said you have to make a review. When you make a review, it takes 7 months to get in. And he said, "Oh, you're not allowed to. If you don't go for local places, you're really local." You okay to film here? I wouldn't dare. Someone else can film. You make it overcrowded for people. He's been influenced by the UK. You got it? I'm just visiting from New York. It's an interesting guy. And you're okay. The first one listening, I'm just listening very loudly. That's okay, thank you.
How do we begin? Wake up, people. Are you ready?
That's why I find this sound all new.
Subject access.
Subject access.
Subject
Heiko. Oh, you're number 4.
For 2 weeks.
That's me on that. That's me every week. How much would you? That's me on Sunday.
I keep doing it. I would see it when you're Anyway.
See you later. Pleasure.
Heiko, can you give her one of these?
I love you.
East European, all right?
I went there to support the side.
That's the first. Second in this, 19 acts.